As you probably know, 2 days ago, the Biden Department of Injustice let Crooked Joe off the hook for some of his very egregious crimes, including his brazen theft of classified documents long before he was ever president. He's been doing this for 50 years. I couldn't believe it. I remember a certain senator got up and said, no way he did that, no way. But he did it. He took them when he was a senator. You can't do it. Now, in my case, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do what I do. But he wasn't covered. He was a vice president, not covered, and he was a senator. But this is yet more proof that we have a weaponized two-tier system of justice in this country. Crooked Joe got off scot-free. Now, I don't know if you call it scot-free. They said he was a mental basket case. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's totally scot-free. In fact, I think maybe if I had my choice, I'd take the other. I'd go through a little process, but that's better than what happened. But they said he was a disaster mentally, and he willfully stole gigantic numbers of classified documents, willful. But because of his condition mentally, is this guy going to make it to the starting gate, seriously? Well, it shows you the power of incumbency, doesn't it? If that happens, it's sort of an incredible thing. But I've been saying no, but you never know. The special counsel's report tries to let Biden off by claiming that he is too mentally incompetent to convict at a trial. But if Joe Biden is not fit to charge, they're not going to charge him with a crime, but it's okay for him to become commander-in-chief. Think of that one. Thank you, that one. The greatest president in my lifetime, she said. I will never run against him. Then she comes over to see me at Mar-a-Lago. Sir, I will never run against you. She brought her husband. Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew. He knew. I just put it out. They want to give like almost $100 billion to a few countries. $100 billion. And I said, and I'm telling you this is breaking news. We have breaking news. I said, why do we do this? If you do, you give them not $100 billion. You give it to them as a loan. It's called a loan. Give them the money. And if they can pay it back, they pay it back. If they can't pay it back, they don't have to pay it back because, you know, they've got some problems. But if they go to another nation, they drop us like a dog, like a female drops a male after a date because he doesn't like her, right? If that happens to our country, then very simply, we call the loan and we say we want our money because we give money and then they go to another side. As an example, let's say we give all this money. We were already into Ukraine for over $200 billion. And they could make a deal with Russia in the next 3 weeks, and all of a sudden they don't want to deal with us anymore. We've given hundreds of billions of dollars. And why are we at over $200 billion? And the European nations are, if you add them up, it's a very similar sized economy. They're at $25 billion. So we're at 200 plus, and it affects them much more. We have a thing called an ocean between us, right? It affects them much more. But we're at 200, they're at 250. I did the same thing with NATO. I got them to pay up. NATO was busted until I came along. I said, everybody's going to pay. They said, well, if we don't pay, are you still going to protect us? I said, absolutely not. They couldn't believe the answer. And everybody, you never saw more money pour in to Secretary General Stoltenberg. Well, I don't know if he is anymore, but he was my biggest fan. He said, all these presidents came in, they'd make a speech, they'd leave, and that was it. And they all owed money, and they wouldn't pay it. I came in, I made a speech, and I said, you got to pay up. They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes. Let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills. And the money came flowing in. And Henry would know this. If I said, yes, I will, you don't have to pay. Yes, I will. Most politicians have said to that, yes, we will protect you under any circumstance. Well, then they're never paying up. I said, no, you have to understand, you don't pay your bills, you get no protection. It's very simple. Hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO, and that's why they have money today, because of what I did. And then I hear that they like Obama better. They should like Obama better. You know why? Because he didn't ask for anything. We were like the stupid country of the world, and we're not going to be the stupid country of the world any longer. We're not going to be. Got bad under this guy.
Thank you, Kareem. Good to see everybody. The special counsel's assignment when he was appointed was to determine whether any criminal conduct occurred. He found it didn't. That was the finding. The case is closed. They have made up claims of a two-tiered system of justice between Republicans and Democrats. They have denigrated the rule of law for political purposes. That reality creates a ton of pressure. And in that pressurized political environment, when the inevitable conclusion is that the facts and the evidence don't support any charges, you're left to wonder why this report spends time making gratuitous and inappropriate criticisms of the president. We just reject that this is true. And I think that it does raise questions about the gratuitousness, and it raises, makes you wonder why that's in there. And so what we're going to do is the president's going to appoint a task force to review how transitions look at classified material to ensure that there are better processes in place so that when, staffs around the building are rushedly packing up boxes to try to get out during a transition as quickly as possible, at the same time and up until the very moment that, they're still governing and doing matters of state, they're going to try to make recommendations that can be fixed, and he's going to appoint a senior government leader to do that. We'll have more on that soon. I think to suggest that he couldn't remember when his son died is really out of bounds. The conversations in the interview back and forth, he's being asked about, file folders from a basement and how did they get there and what is that and what were you doing around that time and things of that nature. I don't want to, just to be very careful, I don't want to get into specific, things while it's still in a classification process. But, it is safe to say that of course the president knows when his son died.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karine. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
In a surprise speech Thursday, U.S. President Joe Biden hit back at a special counsel report that described him as a, quote, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president, and I put this country back on its feet.
In the report released earlier on Thursday, special counsel Robert Hur said Biden will not face criminal charges for his mishandling of classified documents. Hur's conclusion ensures that Biden, unlike his expected presidential rival Donald Trump, will not risk prison time for mishandling sensitive government documents. However, Hur wrote that Biden's memory was, quote, severely limited when he was interviewed by members of his prosecution team. After the report's release, Biden's lawyers accused Hur of overreach and said the president's memory lapses were not unusual for someone trying to describe events that took place years ago. They also called some of the comments in the report, quote, inaccurate and inappropriate. In his speech, Biden lashed out against Hur's suggestion that he had forgotten when his son, Beau, had died.
I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
At another point, when speaking on aid to Gaza, Biden appeared to confuse the leaders of Mexico and Egypt.
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
Earlier in the week, Biden mistook a conversation he had with Angela Merkel in 2021 as having been with the late German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, who died in 2017. The recent blunders on top of the council report could cause further embarrassment for the 81-year-old, as the oldest president in U.S. history tries to convince voters that he should serve another 4-year term.
He's going in time.
Yes.
He's out.
He's walking out. Oh, he's walking out.
So that's gonna like solve it, but I don't know. There we go.